Looking for excitement? Chumba Casino is here. Play anytime, play anywhere. Play on the train, play at the store, play at home, play when you're bored. Play today for your chance to win and get daily bonuses when you log in. So what are you waiting for? Don't delay. Chumba Casino is free to play.
Experience social gameplay like never before. Go to Chumba Casino right now to play hundreds of games, including online slots, bingo, Slingo, and more. Live the Chumba life at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
What does that mean?
It means buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy, because Kansas is going bye-bye.
We need the outlet for our rock tumbler.
Plug it in!
What, the rock tumbler or the TV?
The TV!
Young people from all over the globe are joining up to fight for the future.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part, too.
And as for you, I don't know you, but I'm sure you're a jerk. Hey, I've only been here a few minutes. What's going on?
By the powers vested in me by the Federal Communications Commission, I command you to get on the microphone in a serious manner and continue this broadcast.
We're going to need more than just two media icons like us. You need an army.
That's it. An electronic army. If I were us, I'd get on the internet, send out a major distress signal.
Get a podcast.
So why don't all you little idiots press your faces up against the speakers and blow your brains out?
Hey guys, how's it going? You are listening to a new show. This is TWIG RAM, otherwise known as Random Access Memories. The show that kind of is the successor to TWIG After Dark, and just this was a show that was kind of spitball between myself and Dave and Ken, just thinking we just want to talk about whatever, whenever. So it could be movies, it could be video games, it could be toys, it could literally be anything we want, but we're going to try and do focused topics around those whatever the hell we want. So bringing us around the table, accessing those random, bizarre memories from the great state of New Jersey, we have
Ken from This Anime, and I got some bangers.
Oh boy! Okay, but we haven't told them what the hell we're talking about, other than sausages. No, and of course, from the wonderful land of the Paris of Ohio.
Coming to you from Troy, Ohio, where it's currently snowing right now, Dave the Noyer of Do You Even Movie.
That's right, guys. So we are here together to just talk about whatever. And because it's whatever, I can do whatever the hell I want. And I'm going to. First off, fuck Mr. Beast. No particular reason. Your Feastable chocolate bar sucks. And I'm saying that.
I like the I think it's the extra milk chocolate one or the caramel one. I've had two of them, and one of them stood out.
I think the caramel's okay. At least
I think you're both witches.
One I had.
Hey,
they're all mediocre chocolate. Let's be honest.
My go-to candy bar has been, will forever be a toss between a Crunch bar and a Twix bar. That is it. That is the debate for me. I'm out. Now, if I can find a whatchamacallit or can actually like give my teeth the heads up that we're going to have a payday.
Oh yeah,
one of those two. But Twix and Crunch bar, you just can't beat those.
I will literally go to war over paydays. I love those so much. I actually have to have friends of mine send them up to me or buy them buy them for me and bring them up when they come to visit me during the summer. Because in Canada, at least where I live, they're remarkably hard to find.
So do you have Little Debbie's in Canada?
I don't know. Let me look at Blair. Blair, do we have Little Debbie's in Canada? I think so. A limited selection, but yes.
Okay, so here in Ohio, if you go into a convenience store and or a gas station, you know the oatmeal cream pies that are like to die for, and like they're one of my all-time favorite sweet treats. Only fucking here, do you have to get them double-decker only. You can only get them if they're single-layered and whatnot in stores. If you go to a gas station, they only sell them double-decker, which is two of them stacked on top of each other like an Oreo, and it's too much. That's too much sweetness.
Yeah.
Now, one of these things that I found out recently, I started watching a guy on YouTube, and his name is Sir Yacht, and he's from Ohio, and he does bizarre eating challenges and bizarre like fun challenges. Like I'm gonna run a marathon in skis. I'm gonna jump in all 5 Great Lakes in one day. And he started his own chip company. It's called the Ohio Chip Company. So I may get you to track down some of these for me, Dave, because I'm kind of curious. But yeah, like it was just so weird. And like speaking of like random things today, I've had the most bizarre fucking day. First off, I got tonsil kissed by a dog, so that was fun. But as of today's recording, I met this service dog that I run into at my weekend gig for the Guelph Storms fan club. This lovely dog named Athena, this giant, beautiful husky, just gave me all sorts of kisses, and it was amazing, and I love that.
Here's the thing: female dogs are way more lovable,
affectionate
than male dogs. And
I don't know. I had a boy dog. He was a Bichon Frise, dumber than a sack of hammers.
Yeah,
and he loved everybody.
That's the other thing. That's the other thing. Males are way dumber.
Oh yeah, this dog dumb as shit, but loyal as fuck. So that was great. Wonderful part of my day. And then the other part of my day was, for some reason, people assume because I'm in a chair, I'm stupid. And this almost broke the camel's back today. I was doing my social media thing, doing my broadcast, whatever. And I've had so many people infantize me in literally the last couple months. And what I mean by that is people like, you're in a chair. Oh, that's so good. You're doing so well. Like, motherfucker, I'm not here to inspire you. I had a life before I was in this chair. I have several diplomas. I have several degrees. I'm probably smarter than you. And it drives me up the wall where you almost want to regrow my missing limb, jump out of the chair and start laying down some beat downs. It's just driving me crazy in my personal life. But I was just like, anyway, now that I've been all over the place, do you have any rants to start the show before we tell them what the hell we're going to be talking about today?
I mean, I've got a rant that I could absolutely throw in that is topical currently as the time we are recording this episode. I saw the new Nosferatu, and I know you did too.
Yes,
and I think Ken, did you see it yet? Okay.
Yep.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I could not help myself, no matter how hard I tried, not see Dr. Robotnik every time that motherfucker was on screen with his mustache.
I thought Dr. Robotnik or Count Olaf from fucking A Series of Unfortunate Events.
It was Jim Carrey-esque. Like, it's absolutely Jim Carrey-esque.
It is a little bit. But my thing is, like, when everyone was talking about the mustache beforehand, my brain went, oh, Vlad the Impaler. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, Vlad the Impaler.
See, I saw this movie.
Yeah.
I saw this movie and I was really hyped for it because everyone was like, ooh, it's going to be awesome. And, ooh, it's Robert Eggers. First off, that name means nothing to me, but he sounded cool. So 5-second review of Nosferatu. It nails the look. It looks like Castlevania come to life. It looks fucking awesome. It nails the atmosphere. Everybody talks overly dramatic. Why use 5 words when 25 will do? And necrophilia saves the day. That's my 5-second review of Nosferatu. It's worth seeing. I just don't know if it's worth seeing opening night. It
is a beautiful film.
Oh yeah,
it's like some of the most beautiful shots I have ever seen, period. And I think, honestly, this is the most coherent story he has ever done. And that's
Northman was pretty coherent.
Northman is very coherent, but it goes some places that are wacky. And don't get me wrong, this goes to wacky places. I love Northman as well. It was like my number one of that year.
I wish I would share the affection. I didn't hate it. I just wish it was better. But we're not talking about Northman. But yeah, Nosferatu suffers from one thing and one thing only that all 3 versions now suffer from. It's a boring story when you get to the middle half. The opening 20 minutes, the last 20 minutes, fantastic. The middle stuff, yeah, you get some scares in there and whatnot, but overall, it is a slow story. It's a fantastic story.
As far as I know,
As far as I know,
I like what he added to the story. As far as I'm aware, there is an added bit to this that he added to the story, and that
he mixed in some
super
Dracula.
interesting.
Yeah, well, it's just like Bram Stoker's Dracula. So when I was sitting in the theater watching Nosferatu, all I could think was, man, I would rather be watching Bram Stoker's Dracula. And that's no shade to Nosferatu, to Eggers' Nosferatu. It's just, that's my drop the remote movie. I love that movie. I always have. I think it's a beautiful film.
I saw that for the first time last year.
Yeah, it's a wild movie. Choices were made. You can absolutely say that. If we want to have a Dracula podcast in future, we can absolutely do that, because I've got a lot to say about Dracula and Nosferatu as a whole.
I would totally do that, because
you
know what? I liked parts of it, but the thing is, and I don't know whether this is just me as and I honestly consider myself a bit of a neophyte when it comes to, okay, there's movies and then there's cinema. Yeah. And I was expecting this to be cinema. And maybe I went in with expectations maybe being way too high. I liked it, but I didn't love it. And that's the thing. I wanted to love this movie. I mean,
Robert Eggers is like the middle ground between.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Pretentious film snob and Chris Nolan cinema kind of mass appeal moviegoer kind.
Yeah, because it was cool and everything. Although I did spend the last 15, 20 minutes in the movie trying to figure out who the one Heinrich guy is, and I'm like, because I'd literally seen Kraven the Hunter the night beforehand. And I was
Aaron Johnson. Yeah.
I was like, who the fuck is that guy? And I was like, oh shit, that's fucking Kraven. And
I will say, out of all the Bill Skarsgård makeup, this is the most you can't fucking tell.
No, can I tell you what he is like? What there are three things that make up this Skarsgård Nosferatu makeup in regards to the looks that you'll identify with. And like I already said, one is Dr. Robotnik. Two is freaking Justin Long at the end of Tusk when he's walrused.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one, I think you kind of hinted at a Birdman as well, is just that it looks like a Jim Carrey-esque sketch of something. Like, even taking Robotnik out, it's very Jim Carrey-esque, and it's just it's weird. And then adding in the whole body thing, just making him buff and making him bony and veiny and gross looking. I didn't dislike the movie in regards of, no, I would not recommend it. No, I absolutely would recommend it. I don't know if I'm ever going to watch this movie again, though, because it just took choices that I'm just like, it's cool that Eggers did that. But and good for him. It's his Nosferatu. He's got his name on it now. He made his mark. I'm never gonna shade anybody for taking a bold step. That's what I love about like I said in our previous podcast, Halloween Ends. Halloween Ends and Kills both took very bold steps. I love bold steps and I respect them. There are some that land with me and there's some that don't. This is one that I'm just kind of mid-ground on. I liked the movie. I would recommend it. Will I ever watch it again or own it? Circumstances would have to speak on that. It's not one that I'm going to rush to. I'm not
paying full price for the 4K, if anything.
Let's just say if this ends up in my review pile from whatever company, yeah, sure, why not? And I'm sure it'll get re-gifted. I'm looking at you, Dave. And you know what? It is what it is. So let's cut to the chase. Now, when we started putting together this podcast, Dave and Ken and I were, again, we wanted a show where we could just talk but be focused. And this topic came up when we were pitching ideas, and it's not going to be as crass and vulgar as Twig After Dark was, because choices were made. And we wanted to do something a little bit more fun. Something that's definitely up each other's alleys. Now, all of us here love movies, love cinema, love soundtracks. And that's kind of where we're going with tonight, is we're going to talk about our favorite soundtracks and scores. They can be either or. We can pick up to, I think we said, pick your top 3 for sure, but have 5 ready as kind of an honorable mention. And the criteria was never set in stone, because this is random as it's going to get. So for mine, just to give you guys a little bit of example to think about what you're going to say next, I picked mine upon not just my favorite movies. I can't just say Aliens, but if I do pick one of my favorites, because I will tell you, RoboCop and Transformers are on here, the question has to be why. My opinion, when I think of a soundtrack that's iconic and important to me, can I picture what's happening on the screen as I'm hearing this? How well does it set the tone sonically and theatrically? So for my first pick, this one might come as a bit of a surprise to some listeners, but the composer will not surprise you. So Basil Pomodouros did the soundtrack for one of my favorite movies that I don't talk about nearly often enough, but Starship Troopers. And that's a movie that has a very percussive heavy score, that very swelling theatrical patriotism. Like, it literally, if Helldivers, the video game, had a soundtrack, it would be this thing. And like, literally, you're fighting the bugs on Klendathu, and only good bug is a dead bug. And would you like to know more? And the FedNet, and It's Afraid. Like, when I think of this score, I want to grab my Morita rifle, I want to join the mobile infantry, and I want to go out and kick some ass. Like, literally, I have played video games with the Klendathu drop cranked, just blowing away alien scumbags with huge automatic weapons. And that's the type of score I get. Like, it really invokes emotion. It really brings you into that moment. Like, you are living the story of Johnny Rico and Dizzy and all those characters. And Basil Pomodouros, I find, has this very powerful storytelling through his music, because there's going to be another one on here. You can probably guess which one it is, but we'll talk about that one a little bit later. But yeah, Starship Troopers from him just really hit the nail on the head in terms of storytelling. I can picture the scenes as they happen. And I don't know, it hits me in that nostalgic, happy place, but it also makes me relive certain moments from that movie. And it really is one of my favorite soundtracks and favorite little bits of music. Like I said, the Klendathu drop is probably one of my favorite all-time pieces of music. And I never realized it until we started putting together the idea for this podcast, because I went and re-listened to it a bunch on YouTube. And then I saw people doing cuts of it with Helldivers, like, they're gonna fight for Super Earth, and I was like, holy shit, this really fucking things. And again, I went back to my high school years and college years of playing games like Halo and just putting this on in the background. I was like, no disrespect to Marty O'Donnell's soundtrack, even though he's a fucking weirdo now. That's so disappointing. But yeah, so that's one of my first picks, guys.
I might as well go in, because I've got another, like, hype me up kind of soundtrack. This is a film that I do want to introduce you guys to in the future. This is an anime feature, and this is the film Promare, and it is scored and composed by one of my favorite composers, period, and that is Hiroyuki Sawano. And he is the gentleman that is behind the Attack on Titan soundtrack. He's done a whole bunch of other scores, and every time that man does a soundtrack it's always a banger. He has a great and he also incorporates actual vocal tracks as well with his stuff, and especially with Promare, every single vocal track on the score is a banger. Especially because he primarily worked with MPI, who I like to basically define as Japanese Phil Collins.
I like that.
And
I'm trying to imagine what that would sound
really
like.
like that description, Ken. That's a fucking strong description, and you're not
That's
wrong because
cool.
I know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He just has that sort of vocal range that's very Phil Collins, and just his demeanor is very Phil Collins. And if you've seen him do live performances, he dresses like Phil Collins would dress in the 80s. It's kind of hilarious.
That I can believe.
Man,
But-
I never thought to include anime soundtracks. Fuck, now I'm kicking myself in the ass. Fuck.
But it is, and Sawano is just the master of the beat drop. And one of the big things about Promare is he wrote the entire score of the movie without seeing a single frame of animation.
Oh wow.
Damn. That's awesome.
And the director literally said, he gave me this score. He had the script. All he had was the script. And when we started laying the score onto the movie, we went, shit, this works perfectly. How the hell did that happen?
Damn. That is that's synchronicity of that kind is almost like the whole. You ever heard about the dark side of the rainbow, aka Dark Side of Oz? That sounds like that almost. But there are composers that do that. That will take literally the assignment before they get the movie. And there's masters of that, and that's awesome that that story goes with that.
Yeah, it is, and like some of my favorite drops, obviously Inferno, which is the opening number, is absolutely great, and then also I'm a big fan of Gallant Ones, which is like the final battle music. And honestly, those two are the highlights. But like the entire score is also layering all the musical stuff from the vocals is all layered throughout the entire score. So like certain characters, their actual vocal themes are also the themes that they have in the score, which is absolutely spectacular. And
very cool.
And even looking back, just rewatching it for this podcast, I was just like, yeah, no, this is amazing. I love this score.
That's awesome. So
Dave.
I'm gonna go. So I'm in no particular order, except for my honorable mentions were exactly that. They were just like, well, if I need something else to like really go into or really talk on, I absolutely can. So I do have 5 written down here. So I'm just gonna go in the order they're written down, and they're written down really in no order. And I think it's only appropriate that I kick this motherfucker off with Batman 1989 soundtrack by Prince. But since this is our podcast and we can make the rules, I'm also going to cheat and say the entire Batman soundtrack as a whole, both the score by Danny Elfman and the 1989 Prince soundtrack. We're going to go back a bit because this is me sitting in Florida in my family's car on vacation outside of a flea market that my dad and my sister have ran into. My mom and I have stayed in the car.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
And David has a Walkman, a cassette tape Walkman at this point. And my sister comes out and she's like, hey, we got you something. She hands me 2 cassette tapes. And I have a Batman tape that is 2 stories of both the origin and capture of the Riddler and Two-Face. and the other one is the 1989 Batman soundtrack, which if anybody is familiar with that soundtrack, you know it's literally just a giant picture of the bat symbol. Like what would look like on the suit, or even what was on the poster and the VHS cover. It is that exact picture. So I'm like, holy shit, that's Batman. And again, like, this is probably back, my God, dude, probably like, I was probably 5 or 6. So we're talking 97, 98.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, oh yeah, Ken, you and I are the same age. I keep forgetting that. So yeah, it is, I popped this thing in, and we are probably about a half hour away from where we were staying. And I listened to both sides within that ride back. And I was like, wow, this album is incredible. I was like, again, 5 or 6 at this point, but you know, what stood out was the Bat Dance was the last song of the soundtrack. And the Prince soundtrack for Batman was, supposed to include Baby I'm a Star in 1999 originally, from his original works at that point. And you're talking about, this is a movie at this point that has been panned because people do not believe that Michael Keaton can pull this off. You know, there's never really been a successful Batman movie except for the Adam West TV series and movie that, you know, was almost 30 years before that and everything. So, I mean, this was a big gamble. And then you put an artist like that on this, and Prince fucking nailed it. Just like he did with Purple Rain. Prince put his heart and soul into these songs. And you were talking about placement, especially in movies and whatnot. Minus a few, I can place every single song on the Batman soundtrack in the movie, just like I can when I listen to the score now by Danny Elfman, which I wholeheartedly discovered in regards to like listening to from side A to side B, repeat over, rinse, wash, repeat again. I mean, on Spotify years ago. Now I own both of these soundtracks, both the 1989 soundtrack and the score, on vinyl, cassette, and CD. All three I own on those formats because I love them so much. And to be even more ridiculous, I had to hunt down 4 copies of the Prince soundtrack on vinyl because I got 3 copies that would not play properly and were scratched or had like spots that just didn't sound good. So I literally spent, no joke, probably $120 back in 2015 trying to get the Prince soundtrack on vinyl, because that was around the same time I got my record player. So a decade ago almost. This album has been in my life for over 2 decades. The score has been in my life in the form of knowing these things from the movie. I can place, just listening to that score, I can watch the goddamn movie in my car. I love just the involvement you have. I mean, you want to talk about a track that gives you power. That opening Batman theme of Elfman, the dun, 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 just building and building and building, and then those fucking drums kick in, and you're just going along tracing the bat symbol in those opening credits. And then it was used throughout the movie perfectly. I mean, who here does not think that the opening segment to the 1989 Batman film is iconic as fuck because of, who are you? I'm Batman. All of that Elfman score is just right up front there, to a point where when I listen to that score by itself, I can see all those scenes. One in which in particular that stands out hilariously is what is called the Rooftop Battle, which is the opening track for after you get to the Batman theme, which is where, you know, he's like, you know, I think a Batman's up here, and then Batman spreads his wings, throws that guy, whatnot. That whole beat, you can literally listen to it. And I swear to God, if you've seen the movie more than 5 times, you're going to be able to picture that scene, because those beats that he has, the Elfman, the way that Elfman conducts an orchestra, and the way that that dude knows how to bring about power and excitement to scenes. I have a lot of Danny Elfman scores on multiple formats. I love the Beetlejuice score. I love the Sleepy Hollow score. And, you know, people joke about Elfman sounding the exact same. And it's funny, too, because people kind of give Prince that beat, too, which is hilarious, because that means they just haven't expanded their taste past, like, Purple Rain and his greatest hits. That motherfucker did everything. Prince did everything. Elfman's done a lot. I mean, these are two powerhouses.
I have seen some movies where Danny Elfman's name comes up and I'm like, wait, that's Danny? Jesus.
Yeah. he's so good at like duplicating, and it's just the same way that Prince is. So, you take two artists at the time that, Elfman had Oingo Boingo. He had done, I think by this point, he had done like a couple scores. He'd appeared in Back to School as Oingo Boingo and whatnot. Prince is coming off of Purple Rain and whatnot. So, I mean, you've got these points where it's just crazy to think of who got the jobs. But when you also think about Burton and Elfman's relationship, like I said, Beetlejuice, Sleepy Hollow, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I mean, he's been on so many of their buddies, even though I don't think they get along super well, which is hilarious. I think they're more acquaintances now, which is sad. But fuck Tim Burton. He's an asshole. And Elfman also has some things about him, too. So, I mean, it's just like I love and respect this movie so much. So, it's that whole iconic element of these soundtracks and these scores in one movie, and they both blend perfectly. And if you ever get a chance to watch some of the Prince videos, the music videos that he did for Batman, the extended Party Man video for one, or the Bat Dance video, it's just a time capsule of when music really freaking mattered for soundtrack releases, because I think people do not realize that there was a time where when the soundtrack was coming out, it was a big deal. Like, I remember 2 whole like stands at Walmart stocked with the Titanic soundtrack on cassette and CD when that fucking movie came out. And we are no longer there, and we're never getting back. I mean, vinyl has such a power now with the way that it is bringing out these these soundtracks, these scores and everything, and making them available for the first time, either in a long time, if not for the first time ever. So it's great to live in this age where we have these, and I'm so happy that I own this set of them in particular, both on multiple formats. But the 1989 Batman soundtrack by Prince and the 1989 Batman soundtrack score by Danny Elfman, they cannot be beat. They will be with me until I am gone at this point. They will probably, at this point, I may request them to be buried with me. We'll see.
I think for my next pick, this one should come as no surprise, but it's literally shaped an entire franchise. It has been an Easter egg in multiple movies in this franchise. I'm talking about the Transformers 1986 soundtrack, because I was listening to some YouTuber the other day, and he described it almost perfectly. The 1986 Transformers movie, love it or hate it, I love it. It's a music video, and that's not a bad description. Well, yeah, it's pretty much a giant toy commercial where the entire 1984 line gets slaughtered, most notably my boy Prowl having his insides burned out and his eyes shoot fire as he lies dying, and Ironhide gets executed. That movie has such an astounding score. Vince DiCola did a lot of the music for that movie, along with like musicians like Stan Bush, who did the Optimus Prime theme, The Touch, which was originally written for the movie Cobra. It's appeared in Boogie Nights, as sung by Mark Wahlberg, who would later star in a Transformers movie. Go Get Daddy's Robot Killing Gun, Age of Extinction. I'm looking at you. Yeah, it's an astounding score. And you think about that electronic sound that Transformers 1986 had. Like, you play the first couple bars of the Unicron medley, we know what that is. You play Optimus Prime's death scene where he's dying in Autobot City, just about to pass the Matrix to Ultra Magnus before Hot Rod scoops it up. You get that. You get instruments of destruction right where Hot Rod and Cup are about to fight the Sharkticons in front of the Quintessence Judge. Like, that's iconic stuff. The Battle of Autobot City with Blaster and Perceptor, trying to radio Prime, and then finally when the touch hits, when Optimus Peter Cullen comes out, says Megatron must be stopped no matter the cost, and the sound just stops dead. The transforming sound as Optimus's transformation cog engages and he's driving into Autobot City, mowing down Blitzwing and Thundercracker and Bombshell and Shrapnel. It's literally magic. And as his boosters engage and he does that flip through the air, which is the Optimus pose that literally gets put in like every movie from Bumblebee to Transformers 1 to the one from Transformers 2007. He does the Optimus pose and he nails Soundwave and shoots, like, I think it's Thruster Dirge in the face. Like, it has literally become so synonymous with the franchise. Like, Vince DiCola really set the tone for that movie musically, but it was all the other artists like Lion who did the Transformers theme. The first time we'd ever heard it become metalized and just that arena glam power rock sound that you really don't expect. Spectre General, which as far as I understand, like a group they just literally made up for this movies. I think their alternate name is Kick-Axe, if I remember Alex telling me that correctly. But it's just been one of those soundtracks that I never get tired of listening to, much like Dave. If they were to bury me with a soundtrack, this might be it. Hell, a little story. When I got married back in 2011, I came into the entrance hall with Blair, both of us singing The Touch. Stan Bush did music for our wedding. We heard an acoustic version of The Touch. But we came into that. Like, this music is intertwined in my life in such a powerful way. Like, this is one of my iconic soundtracks. And I've been fortunate enough to speak with Stan. I think I spoke with Vince DiCola very early on in my podcasting career. So it's been kind of neat just to know that this soundtrack is entwined with my life as it is. And it's such a part of the franchise that it's really kind of cool. So I don't know how the Transformers movies will ever have something else as iconic with this. Now, they did try a new Transformers rap at the end of Transformers 1, and while it's a catchy song...
Hey, it's Ryan Seacrest. Life comes at you fast, which is why it's important to find some time to relax. A little you time. Enter Chumba Casino. With no download required, you can jump on anytime, anywhere for the chance to redeem some serious prizes. So treat yourself with Chumba Casino and play over 100 online casino-style games, all for free. Go to ChumbaCasino.com to collect your free welcome bonus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
It's not The Touch. It took them forever to get The Touch into Bumblebee back in 2018. There was a version of The Touch that had rap in it from 2009 for Revenge of the Fallen. Now, fun fact, when I was talking with Stan Bush a fair chunk back in the day, I heard the master track for that, like the actual mastered track. And he sent me a copy of it. I still have that copy on my computer. And it was different from the version that most people heard. I think this version's superior because I will actually die on this hill. I don't think rap and The Touch is a bad combination when done correctly. I actually don't mind it. But I'm a fanboy, so my opinion don't count for shit. But yeah, it's like, it's so hard not to picture the Transformers franchise without The Touch. It's hard to imagine Unicron without that menacing beat behind it. I mean, I never even thought to look up this till now. I wonder if someone took Rise of the Beasts and recut the Unicron scenes with the Vince DiCola score. I hope someone has.
You would be surprised what people have done at this point. Like, I went through a phase of looking up the different cuts of the scene in Joker of him walking down the stairs to Rock and Roll Part 2. One of my all-time favorites that somebody did was Pumped Up Kicks by Foster the People. Like, that scene and that song blends a little too well together, and it's pretty fucking cool.
So yeah, guys, that is my other pick. So I guess, Ken, it goes back to you, bud.
So I'm also choosing something that basically is iconic and revolutionized the entire franchise, and that is Daft Punk's soundtrack for Tron Legacy.
Yes!
Good pick.
That is... And having just rewatched it, yeah, no, that score is front and friggin' center. And it works so well.
I would argue...
so iconic.
I'd argue the soundtrack is more memorable than the fucking movie.
Most of the movie, yes.
Yeah, because like I can't remember anything beyond Tron Legacy, beyond the light cycle shit, Uncanny Valley, the dude, and Separate Ways. Other than that, I don't remember a lot, but the soundtrack I listened to for an entire summer.
Oh yeah. And going back to the movie, it's like it's still an okay film, but again, when I first saw it, I compared it to the original Tron, which also has a pretty shitty story and is basically propped up by its action and its visual effects. And Tron Legacy, pretty much exactly the same damn thing. It is propped up by its score, its visuals, and its story is kind of one note. And Clue aside, there are moments with that in that movie with Clue, and you're like, this sort of works, but when he is in full lighting, like full on light, he looks like Play-Doh.
Yeah, he looks weird.
He looks like Play-Doh. When there's bits of shadow on him, it works. And that's the main issue, is when he is fully visually lit, front lit, it is hard not to notice the uncanny valley. But when he is in shadow, partially or even momentarily, like you're sold on the young version of Jeff Bridges. And just going back to the score, like the grid, I can listen to that specific track consistently for hours, because it's just this beautiful electronic sweeping score. And that is literally the opening track of the movie, and I just instantly remember it over and over again.
I've never seen the movie, but I've heard the soundtrack several times, and that is it's such a fun soundtrack because it just kind of encapsulates you to just a vibe. And there's some soundtracks that have
like
a vibe.
Tron. It feels like Tron.
Yeah, you can go to that place just by hearing certain sounds, and it's just like, it's funny for me to say that because while I've seen the original Tron, several times, I never saw Tron Legacy, but I remember when that soundtrack came out because I think at that point, what year was that?
2010, I want to say.
2010.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that time I would have been in high school. So I definitely remember that being played amongst my friend group and whatnot. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. I can definitely see it.
I mean, I'm holding out hope that Disney will just waste money and actually fully remaster the movie in 4K, which is probably never going to happen because they rendered the entire movie in 1080p for some stupid reason. Yeah. So it would require so much money that Disney would never make money back for remastering it. But damn, I would love them to just waste money.
Yeah,
there's just those moments you have those victories that you just love to see, which would befall other people and or person else.
I mean, given the fact that they've got the new one out literally at the end of this year, so
yeah, true.
All right, Dave. So what do you got for us, homie?
All right, so keeping in the fashion of oh my god, I can't believe he's doing another deep cut. This is one that fell into my lap literally in like the last couple of years, to be honest. And it is the 1992 film Light Sleeper, starring Willem Dafoe. And Light Sleeper is a film by Paul Schrader. And it is basically the story of Dafoe being a drug dealer. He's trying to get his life on like right on the path and everything, but he also, works for a good client. And he's also a writer. So like the movie is like narrated by him. And it's another movie, just so happens, where they got one single person to do one single artist to do the entire score, which includes both instrumentals and songs, and that is Michael Biehn, who is not Michael Biehn of Terminator. He is Michael Biehn of The Call. And if you're not familiar with The Call, if you know the film The Lost Boys and the song I Still Believe, The Call is originally the artist of that song that Tim Capello is covering in The Lost Boys. So that's not a Tim Capello original song. It's done by The Call, and Michael Biehn is a part of The Call, and he did this soundtrack. And to give you a little perspective on Light Sleeper in regards of how it came into my life, I am a physical media whore, but I also enjoy the fact that I have access to things digitally as well. So that means that sometimes I'll be up late, or I'll keep an eye on the sales page on my Vudu, aka Fandango at home, for movies that either drop just on Vudu this week, become available in price, etc., etc. And Light Sleeper was a movie that popped up because, on Vudu, just like you can any other streaming app, like you can click on actors and whatnot and see what's available. And I had seen Light Sleeper on there before. The one thing I picked up on it was that there was not a HD available. It was only available in SD, which has improved massively in the last few years too. So I watched this movie, and to give you the IMDb description, it says a drug dealer reconsiders his profession when his boss plans to go straight and an old flame reappears. And Willem Dafoe is in the film, Susan Sarandon's in the film, Dana Delaney, Victor Garber, who plays Mr. Andrews in Titanic. He's in it, and he plays like a really serious, like evil role. And it was just a movie that I really enjoyed. But, it's one of those movies that's just like, that was good. It didn't wow me, but it was like, that was a good movie. And had it not been for the fact that while I was watching the movie, originally that movie starts with you're going through the city of New York, and then you're inside a taxi cab with Dafoe, and Michael Bihn's song, I think it's Fate, is the one that plays to open the movie. And there's one thing with soundtracks and me especially, there are certain beats and certain openings that can be absolute perfection to where I don't care how much I've heard of this, I instantly want to hear this entire score or soundtrack, because this scene, this opening alone has got me. The one thing that is shitty about music in regards to what we stream, what we pay for access to library-wise today, is when it comes to soundtrack, it's very hit or miss. And unfortunately, Light Sleeper was one that I had to hunt down via a friend, because otherwise I was listening to this son of a bitch on YouTube. And that included both just parts from the movie that they ripped the song from, as well as actual samples from the legitimate release soundtrack. Because if you try to find this now, if either of you can find a physical copy that I can purchase, let me know. Because I'm looking, and I've been looking for a while, and it's not been any luck. But this soundtrack, especially for me, which you can find, like I said, on YouTube right now, it just has a, like you were saying with Tron, Ken, it just has a sense of the vibe of the movie, and you're there. You're in the grubby streets of New York. You're going to these deals with Dafoe, because these songs, both the instrumentals and the ones that have lyrics, he does both multiple versions of, like, the opening track on the actual CD is called World on Fire.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1, go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2, collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3, play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games, all for free?
Step 4, unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
And the way that this version of World on Fire opens is very slow, very melodic. Builds, it's low on instruments, so I think there's like maybe 3, if not 4 at max. And then you go 2 tracks up, and it's World on Fire, John's theme. And John is the character of Dafoe in the film. And you get this guitar that goes, and it just kicks into the song again, and it's sped up, and it's got drums now. The songs on this soundtrack may not hit with people in the way they do with me, but speaking in regards of what this album does for me, It became a rule shortly after I got the soundtrack, which is one of the only soundtracks downloaded on my phone right now, because I, again, cannot stream this anywhere unless I go to YouTube, and it's a bunch of, hodgepodge at that point, and I have the actual CD tracks on my phone now. My roommate once asked me if I could stop playing the Light Sleeper soundtrack when I got this album. And he was absolutely justified to do so. But no, it's the movie itself is a fantastic film. And what's hilarious, too, in regards to linking back to movies and soundtracks with me, especially for them, I'd been listening, like I said, to that soundtrack so much that Criterion Channel did a Paul Schrader month recently and had a full-on HD new transfer of Light Sleeper on there. And I shit you not, gentlemen, when I say it was like 2 a.m. when I was just, laying in bed, not sure what to do. This is like post breakup of last year, so I'm in a headspace, whatnot. I've been listening to the soundtrack, and I literally watched that entire movie through. And going back to the Batman soundtrack, I was placing every single track that I'd heard and the different versions of it, because there are points in the movie where you do have this song that it is kind of a theme, like they list on the soundtrack through the characters. And then when it gets into serious parts, you'll see, oh, that's the same song, but like now it's done with like just a keyboard and like some light like cymbals and whatnot. Like there is so much creativity with Michael Biehn in the soundtrack that I cannot recommend it enough. The movie and the soundtrack both. If you can find the soundtrack, again, best of luck to you. Not off YouTube, but at the same time, the movie is becoming more widely available. It's on like in US right now, it's on like Prime, it's on Tubi. So that's like a movie recommendation I can give as well. But you'll see just the reason that movie stands out is because of this soundtrack. And once you hear that opening track and you start to go on these cab rides with Defoe and you hear some of these songs repeat and they change tempo and instruments and whatnot, you just kind of, again, get sucked into that world, both watching the movie and listening to the soundtrack. And it's got love ballads, it's got rock songs, it's got intense actions happening like on the screen. So, we've got multiple instruments and like, quick bits and whatnot. It's got a little bit of everything. And it's also only like 16 songs, and songs vary in length of anywhere between like 45 seconds to 7 minutes. So, I mean, the whole CD as a whole you can listen to in 56 minutes, and it's 16 songs, and you will not have a bad time. So Light Sleeper, 1992 film, directed by Paul Schrader, starring Willem Dafoe, soundtrack by Michael Biehn. Cannot recommend it enough.
Fantastic. So I guess I'm going to do a couple of honorable mentions here. Like, I would love to talk about these at length, but I'm just not going to, but I'll talk about them for just a moment or two. Ghostbusters 2. And
yes, bitch.
Yeah, so weird thing. So this is one of the only physical pieces of media I have from my real mom. My real mom gifted me this on cassette in the summer of 1989. I still have my original cassette. It's in one of my Walkmans in my house right now. It's still my original tape. And it's a really good licensed soundtrack for the time. Like, there's maybe one or two weak songs in there, but this is the first time I'd ever heard Bobby Brown. I mean, On Our Own is one of my favorite. We're Back. First time I'd heard Glenn Frey outside of Miami Vice.
He does Flip City, right?
Yes, and that sounds fucking a banger.
So if anybody listening to this has seen Ghostbusters and knows scenes and can kind of place things, Flip City is the song when all hell breaks loose in Ghostbusters 2 and you've got the woman's coat coming alive and the Titanic arriving at the docks. That's Flip City by Glenn Frey, who also did The Heat Is On for Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, like, it's such a fun song. And the soundtrack, listen, it's very, very consistent. This is also the first time I'd ever heard New Edition.
You got some deep cuts on there, like Elton John with Love is a Cannibal, and one of my all-time favorites off of it by far is Oingo Boingo's Flesh and Blood.
And that's the scene where they're in the photography lab developing the pictures from Vigo the Carpathian.
Yep.
And again, it's a really, really good soundtrack. Another soundtrack that I want to recommend, and it's because of the instrumental. So much so, this led me down a very interesting path when I was younger. I was really into The Matrix. If you knew me from about 1999 till about 2004, The Matrix was my life for a number of years. And I'm not a red pill. Holy shit, never associate me with those weirdos. But there was an artist on the second soundtrack for Matrix Reloaded, and he also did music for number 3 as well, though not as much. And the song was called Furious Angels by a guy was named Rob D. He's an electronica artist, and he just did amazing music in that. And I also think he did music for Enter the Matrix as well. And this is also where I ran into another guy who had become one of my favorite musical composers overall, Don Davis. And Don Davis, you're thinking, oh, you know, he's an epic score guy. He did a Goofy movie. And I was like, holy shit.
In regards to Powerline songs on Goofy movie?
Yeah, that's Don Davis.
Don Davis is a fucking hero around these parts then.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, really? I'm like, you did the Neo fight where he's flying in the air? Yeah. And I'm like, holy shit, that's fucking awesome. And then my last 2 honorable mentions, because they inspired a lot of music CDs after their initial soundtracks. And it was going to be Hackers, which is an astounding licensed soundtrack on its own. Like, you've got The Prodigy on there, you got Halcyon.
I would say the soundtrack might be better than the movie nowadays.
You are speaking blasphemy, sir.
I'm sorry. I really, really loved that movie.
Hackers is of its time.
It's very of its time, yes.
But it's still entertaining.
Oh, it's still entertaining. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. But I will say that there are times where the soundtrack is, one could argue, better than the film. And I would say I really like Hackers. It didn't hold up immensely when I watched it recently, but I'm getting ready to read the novelization this year and rewatch it again to see how my appreciation extends.
Please tell me this is in prep for a certain podcast.
I don't know. That is on our that is on our short list. But our short list also is 400 movies long. So but no, I will say that Hackers is genuinely entertaining. But there are cases where the soundtrack does outweigh the film, and I would say Hackers might be arguably that.
And it inspired, because I know there was at least 2 to 3 CDs there was music from and inspired by Hackers, astounding soundtracks. And then the other one, this kind of surprised me when I really kind of thought about it, Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat had a really good score, I think. And then later on, it inspired a pretty good licensed soundtrack. There was KMFDM was on there, Gravity Kills, a few other bands of the time. But what really got me was the soundtrack for Mortal Kombat Annihilation. That movie is bad, but
it's watchable if you have things to make things more enjoyable that are bad.
This is true. If you're like a Mortal Kombat
on that fucking soundtrack, and Rammstein's Eggle track alone, I love that soundtrack.
Which is an astounding pick for that movie. Like, it's weird how much the Mortal Kombat Annihilation soundtrack really went hard when it didn't have to. And I'll be honest with you, that's the first time I'd ever heard a David Bowie song. With because I think it was David Bowie.
Me.
Yeah, I think it was David Bowie featuring Danny Wonder or something like that.
Okay, well let's assess this. That's the first time you heard and knew.
Yes.
Or the first time that you heard in general?
Heard in general, because I grew up in a town where, I didn't get access to Toronto radio stations for a very long time, especially at home. And anytime I could get a radio station from the States, it was always over the air, and it would be really late at night. So I might get a Chicago station.
More of a cinema, like we're talking about movie soundtracks here. I feel like Bowie is featured on a lot of soundtracks, though, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, like I grew up in a very isolated small town full of idiots. But yeah, so those were my honorable mentions. So I've taken up enough time. So I will give a very quick what my actual pick is. This should probably come as no surprise. This is the Brad Fiedel soundtrack to the first Terminator.
Oh,
what more can I say? That 80s synth sound, that da-da-da-da-da-da, that's iconic.
You can say, and I will put this, post this, stamp this right here. You can say that T1 and T2 soundtracks, while
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Themes share, the same thing and whatnot, are very different soundtracks, and both done by
They're
Fidel.
very different movies.
Very different movies as well. Yeah, and they're both masterpieces. And that's why I think it's important to say that, because I feel like Terminator especially gets kind of left aside sometimes, because T2 is such a phenomenon that it kind of outweighs the original in a sense. And I think the original Terminator soundtrack is some of the best synth work that came out of the 80s.
Oh, 100%. Now, oddly enough, my favorite track is not the Terminator theme, if you can believe that.
Can I take a guess?
Yes. Which one do you think it is?
Is it the car chase? The ending car chase? Okay. Second guess, Grandma's Cabin?
Nope.
Final guess and third guess and final guess. Sarah's theme.
The love theme, yes.
Ah!
It's such a gentle and sweet piece of music, yet there's a sadness to it too. And it's something that it's only really come around on my last probably 5 to 10 rewatches, and I know that sounds like a lot. When I go back and rewatch that movie, when Sarah and Kyle are having their night of intimacy together, and you see them holding hands as they're, having sex there, I was like, there's something about the way that the music hits during that scene, and that's definitely a synergy between the music and the editing.
It's also a graphic scene in hindsight. Of recently seeing it, because Enrique and I went to see the 4K transfer in theaters, and it's a surprisingly graphic sex scene that you kind of just don't even realize until you're watching it again. But it's done in such a way that it's not gratuitous. Like, it's literally two people fucking and in their minds saving the world.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Yeah, there's just something about that it's always kind of stuck with me. And as much as I appreciate, that driving synth score, it's the quiet moments that I think really make that soundtrack kind of stand out. And the other moment I would say out of that soundtrack is when they go in the tech noir and there's that song Burning or whatever it is. It's not on the soundtrack, but it's a licensed song, but I really enjoy that bit too. But yeah, ultimately Brad Fidel, I really enjoy his stuff. And Terminator 2, again, another fantastic sound. Even that little sting you get for the future war, I really dig. So yeah, ultimately that's my
Gonna give Fidel another shout out and another great movie acknowledgement. His work on Fright Night, which is just Come to Me, which is the only track he's technically credited with in regards to an artist. I think he did the score in other sections, if I'm not mistaken. But his track of Come to Me, which is seen in where what's Amy? Amy is her name in the movie. That Charlie. Oh damn it! I think it's Amy. Yeah, I think it's Charlie and Amy. When Amy is being seduced by Jerry Dandridge, Chris Sarandon's character, and she's in the room and everything, that's the song that is playing. And that song steals an entire film in a sense, just like that opening Terminator theme does, and then the love theme. So yeah, Fidel is a maestro and master.
Oh yeah. So I guess we swing back to Ken. What do you got, homie?
So I'm just going to give out an honorable mention. This is a cheat because I'm doing the entire franchise, and that is John Pisano's score for the Maze Runner soundtrack. And that's all 3 films in the Maze Runner series, which honestly, those films are very underappreciated and they're very, very good. And these are
I don't mind them, but I've never thought about the soundtrack.
Hey, I have not seen them, so I cannot comment.
Yeah. They're all done by Wes Ball, who did the recent Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And I think this introduced me to not only Wes, but also John, who also works with Wes on Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And the incorporation of both the score and the scale and scope of Wes's cinematography just blows me away and continues to blow me away, especially with the Maze Runner trilogy. And it's just so good. It's very good. And then another honorable mention, because I'm a big fan of Raman Dajwadi, who is also the composer for Game of Thrones, but he has done a couple of movie scores. More specifically, I love his score for Warcraft. This is a movie I will defend to my dying breath. That movie is good. I don't care.
It's always been on my short list to see, actually.
It's watchable. Like it is not I as someone who has said on this podcast multiple times that I can find value in things that a lot of people despise. That is not a movie that I actually despise. I think it is a genuinely enjoyable movie.
Yes, it is a old school 70s, 80s fantasy flick. That's what I equate Warcraft to. And that's how I watch it, basically.
The sword and sandals, but still good.
Yeah, but the one that I've always gone to when I need something calm and peaceful to listen to when I'm doing work, or when I just need to be calm and peaceful, is a movie from 2014. I saw the trailer and I'm like, this is interesting. I had to buy it on premium VOD because it was not playing anywhere near me because it was a very select screening. It is a movie called Automata with Antonio Banderas, and the score is done by Zacarias M. de la Riva, and it is just... Automata as a film is very much Ridley Scott with its scope and scale, but it's such a small budget film. And the director Gabriel Ibanez, he worked in the visual effects industry beforehand, so he knew how to shoot this film while on a very, very small budget. And it's basically a Blade Runner story. And the score just... The score genuinely carries a lot of the film, because there's not a lot of dialogue. There is a good chunk of dialogue, but it's not... There are very few moments that you can distinctly say, this is all dialogue. And the score is front and center, and it's beautiful, it's calming, and it's breathtaking at the same time, because they shot it in, I forget the name of the Mexico desert, but it is a white desert. It is a beautiful white desert that they shot most of this film in, and the score just kind of enhances that visual so much, and it just brings me... listening to the score brings me back to those moments in the movie.
There's a proven study that white imagery mixed with powerful and if not low ballads of some type can give a viewer more of an attention grab, both in the perception of their ears as well as their eyes, to the memory, like receiving more in that sense. So that's a really cool thing.
And again, this movie is available to watch pretty much everywhere. It's free on pretty much all those free services.
No, I'm pretty sure the last gas station I filled up at, when I got done, they were just like, "Hey, if you want this copy of Warcraft here, you spent money at this gas station. We're just giving these away. We have thousands of them."
But also not only Warcraft, but I'm talking about Automata.
Or Automata. My apologies. Yes.
But... And also, this film is not highly rated. Like, it sits at a 37 on Metacritic. But I'm one of the few champions of this film. and I still go back, and going back to it, it still just takes my breath away, and I absolutely love it. And it's a simple story. It's about a robot uprising. Like, the robots just want to get away from the humans. That is the entire plot of the movie.
It played in theaters, did it not?
It did go into theaters, but it was very select theaters.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember seeing a trailer for it, and there's several theaters that I go to around the area that have like their art theaters, art houses more so than anything, so they get some of those trailers for those movies that are getting those short releases. So I feel like I've seen the trailer at least, but yeah, I'm gonna have to check this movie out. You've won me over.
Yeah, it is. The score to me is by far one of the first scores that genuinely.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Shocked me as an adult, where I'm like, oh, this is an amazing score. I am picking up this score immediately.
All right.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
No. Go ahead.
Quick question. Ahead. How easy was the score to get?
Oh, the score is way easy to get. I bought it off of Amazon.
That's what I'm saying. Like that so like going back to like Light Sleeper and whatnot, like it's funny how sometimes when you're a soundtrack whore like I am, soundtrack slut, whatever you want to call me at this point, I'll take it because I've spent copious amounts sometimes to get ridiculous bullshit. I can just tell you verbatim that there's been like times that I've paused credits of end sequences or end credits to go through the track listing to find songs and find out some of them are on Bandcamp, for fuck's sake, and I can listen to them right away and confirm that that is the song that I just heard from this movie that I really want.
I love it.
There's a ridiculous aspect to me. So, are you good, Ken?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Yeah.
All right. So, I want to close my section of this by saying, if you want to hear 2 episodes in previous that we have talked about soundtracks, or at least composers of soundtracks at length, the Maniac Cop series that you and I did, Birdman, and the Crow soundtrack. And the Crow soundtrack, I think I actually talked a little bit at length about on that episode. So if you want to hear me talk about the Crow soundtrack, which would have been an honorable mention had it not already been mentioned in that episode, go back and listen to that episode. So Crow soundtrack is one that I'm not even going to talk about. There's your feed. No, follow that track. Follow that bird. So, the 2 honorable mentions I have, which are ironically sequels, because I have also talked a little bit at length about it, I think, on either both the episode of our ranking, if not going into it even a little bit on us talking about the David Gordon Green series. The Halloween 2 soundtrack with Alan Horwath and John Carpenter is some of the most incredible work of taking a sequel and upping it in every style of both the presentation of songs, bringing back songs from the original and amping it up. Halloween 2 soundtrack is one that I have on vinyl and have listened to multiple times when I'm at home alone doing the dishes. And to give you perspective on what that means for me, I'm listening to a horror score while I'm home alone and able to just relax and do chores. So what does that say about me? Who can say? But that soundtrack is just one of an example of just taking another thing and upgrading it to the extent of both the music with the pictures you're seeing for a sequel, which leads me into my other honorable mention, Jaws 2 by John Williams. It's kind of crazy that people forget that John Williams did do the Jaws 2 soundtrack, because you just associate them one and you forget, and one is a beautiful soundtrack. However, there is only one Jaws album that I have, and it's Jaws 2, because just the opening of them going back to the orca and then the other shark attacks, but just the opening of the divers going down there, it's a beautiful theme. You're in the water with them. You don't know you're in a Jaws movie yet until you see Orca, and as you see the name Orca on the boat, then the Jaws 2 title card comes up, and Williams just does something with that score that completely disrupts your comfort to make you remember what you paid a ticket for, what you clicked on your streaming, or what you put the needle down on in my personal aspect of this. So Jaws 2 soundtrack by John Williams is beautiful in every regard. Of he mixes melodic sense of the comfort and you're having fun and it's adventure, just like he does with Jaws, but then he kicks the Jaws theme back up, which you know and recognize, but then he ups it again by adding little things to it. And it is just it's just a lot of fun when you go back and listen to the soundtrack, watch the movie and whatnot. Cannot recommend Halloween 2, Jaws 2 soundtracks enough. However, we're going to shift to 1959.
Oh.
And we're going to talk about a little company that's in big trouble right now, but goddamn, you just can't beat their classics, Disney. In particular, we're going to talk about the Sleeping Beauty soundtrack done by George Burns. If you want to ever hear me go on, either of you seen that fucking meme going around where it's just like, it's a picture of, can you tell me why you like blank, and it's like, you know, they have a picture of the movie cover, the album cover, etc., the video game, and it's just an audio file that's like 6 hours long. That is me with Sleeping Beauty. I could talk about this movie at length. It is one of my all-time favorite movies. If not my all-time favorite movie, it has been in my life the longest of any movie that I have watched still to this day. It is just a movie that I completely love to every aspect of. I have a crush on Maleficent, which used to be I was very afraid of her when I was a young child. How that developed into a crush, that's a whole nother podcast that I don't even want to start and or be on. But
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
What's funny about that in particular to the soundtrack is it's her fucking theme when she is stalking Aurora in the castle when the fairies have left her alone. When Merryweather and Flora and Fauna have gone out of the room and they're leaving Aurora crying at the mirror, you just hear that dun, and it just draws out and it gets creepier. That whole scene to this day is what I would call cinematic perfection in every aspect of it, and it's an animated film from 1959.
Yeah, I would say it's my favorite of the classic Disney princesses.
Yes, I mean, absolutely.
It's my number 29 on the complete list. Out of 63 Disney animated films, it's 29, which is pretty darn good.
And it's like I was freaking robbed because I have it on vinyl, but when they put it out originally, it was a sampling of the soundtrack. It's not all the songs, it's not all of the movie tracks. Like, it's the ones that they were like, these are the ones that you want to hear. And they kept that damn theme off. That Maleficent theme is like the meat and potatoes of that movie, in my opinion. In order for me to get it, I have to either get a fucking picture disc, which I hate those because they are so weird when it comes to how the music comes. Well, expensive, but also they don't sound great because you're freaking putting a needle on a picture. I mean, yeah. So, so I digress. I have it on CD. I have it on my phone. It's not a big deal. I got over that. But no, going back to the soundtrack and the movie as a whole, I can literally sing the songs of the townspeople coming in, like Joy to Now is Oh Our Princess We Come. I know every fucking song to Aurora singing from like Once Upon a Dream and all that stuff. There is just a sense of power in the soundtrack from both the vocals that you have on there, which to give credit where credit is due, Mary Costa, Bill Shirley, you've got Taylor Holmes and Bill Thompson, which are the two dads, the kings, which are scumps, which are the two of them basically being like, well, we're going to build a castle tomorrow. They're going to pump out children. You know, let's drink. Let's be merry. And then they get into a fight because they're drinking. But like the song itself is funny because it starts out two friends, then it develops into, well, maybe we have some differing opinions, but we're still friends. Then it goes into, well, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. Well, I'm going to beat the shit out of you too. And what's funny to me is, going out with what I started with the Maleficent theme, which I believe is, what is it called on here? I think it might be Poor Aurora, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it's something along those lines. And it is just a soundtrack that, once again, I hear and I'm back in the movie, but it has so many varying degrees to it too, where you have the arrival at the castle of you're going into town, you're going into the special ceremony, the people are singing about it. It's a musical in a sense of it gives you perspective from the opening of here's the story, here's why you're here, you're going into this castle, it's the, here is the child. And then we go through the whole Sleeping Beauty song, which is them actually putting the town to sleep. Once Upon a Dream is a theme that plays both through the orchestral side of it as well as the characters sing, and closes the film as well. It is a perfect soundtrack in every sense of it. It encapsulates the film beautifully. If you have a chance to get on to any of the actual expanded soundtracks that have like demos from it, the demos are just as freaking good as you like would expect. And I think to have George Burns on that soundtrack in particular and have those vocals and have a Disney film for one thing, and this is the guy that did the Jungle Book as well. He's done Robin Hood, Aristocats, 101 Dalmatians. I mean, his music style is iconic on these films. And Sleeping Beauty is one where it stands out, where you forget just how much you remember of some of those themes because of the imagery that goes along with it. And I think that is one thing that I can close in saying with soundtracks is you can have those points where you have amazing songs and vocalists like you have with the Batman soundtrack by Prince, or you have with the Mortal Kombat soundtrack and all that stuff. But then when you have sections that are just those instrumentals and those pieces of music that build upon each other and give you significant moments of the film that you remember, that is a testament to both a good artist as well as a good timing, editing, all that stuff. So, I mean, that is just more power again to what movies can do to somebody that really takes them into a degree of, maybe this obsession, we'll call it.
Yeah. Sleeping Beauty is a stained glass painting of beauty. Quite literally. And when you're talking about the score, like my brain goes, oh yeah, no, there's that track. There's that track. Yeah, no.
Yeah. It was one of those situations where, I remember buying this movie to personally own when I was probably age 8 or 9, maybe even 10. And, I was kind of phasing out of Disney at that point because I was the cool kid. And I had whatever cool PG-13 horror film or maybe R film that was older at that time, whatever. And I remember distinctly choosing, you'll love this, Birdman. I remember distinctly choosing Sleeping Beauty Platinum Edition DVD over Stephen King's It release from Warner Brothers. I'm inside CD Connection holding both in my hands. Both are the same price. Or no, actually Sleeping Beauty was $4 more. And I was like, well, I could get both or I could just get this one. And I ended up getting Sleeping Beauty. And I was absolutely thrilled with that purchase. And I bought that movie probably with Blu-ray now, waiting on 4K at this point. I have bought that movie no less than 4 or 5 times.
I think I saw it for the first time last year or maybe the year before last. I know me and Blair had this plan to watch one Disney movie a week, and we got 4 or 5 in before the podcast happened, and I just kind of got sidetracked. Maybe I should come back to that.
Well, I mean, a testament to that is the Maleficent theme is Once Upon a Dream done by Lana Del Rey. Because, again, the iconicness of that song. And, I mean, that song was also covered by, there was a Disney Channel. I was a Disney kid in, early 2000s and whatnot. And there was a band that covered Once Upon a Dream that, made it kind of like a party song, like a party pop song. And it's damn good as well. I mean, when you have a beat that you recognize and, the movie iconicness that you can pull from, you'd be amazed what sometimes really hits musically that you don't expect to.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. So for my final pick, I am choosing the soundtrack to the movie Blank Check. No, I'm fucking with you. And the soundtrack to the movie Casper. This one was, it got triggered by a Christmas gift of all things. So I was looking for something to buy Alex, and I know he's a big guy who deals in vinyl. And I got to thinking, what soundtrack sounds really good? And I'm looking through Toys R Us, but for some reason they sell vinyl now. So I'm in there.
A lot of places sell vinyl now.
And I'm flipping through there, and I came across this soundtrack, and I remembered how much I fucking loved it. And it was the soundtrack to Kill Bill Volume 1. Volume 2 is not as good, but Volume 1, I remember really sticking out in my mind. Like, I remember when this movie came out in like 2004 to 2005, and I was really into my Tarantino phase at this time. And I remember listening to this over and over again, just really digging it. And the song that really caught my attention was the Nancy Sinatra Baby Shot Me Down. But there's this other track on there. It's like 10 minutes long, but it's called Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood. And it's just this, the song is a vibe. There's no other way to describe it. It's like Latin influence. It's got like a lot of clapping and percussion in it. And I really, really dug it. And I remember thinking, I want to get this for Alex, because I know if anybody knows how to calibrate audio equipment, it's him. So when he has a chance to put this on with his Sennheiser headphones that are like his studio monitors, some things that are literally equipped for, a recording studio, he's going to have himself a damn good time. Plus, the RZA did music for that movie as well. And it's the theme for O-Ren, where it's that anime sequence where she's holding the sniper rifle and she's shooting the dude in the back of the limo, and just how that hits in such a
great beat. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it hits so well. Plus the fight in the house of 1,000 Leaves, I think it's called. It's such a good soundtrack. And I say, man, I forgot how much I fucking love this. And again, I think it's just an amazingly strong soundtrack. It's really well put together. When the RZA puts his mind to stuff, I prefer this to anything he's ever done in the hip hop world. Not to disparage anything he's done there, because he's a wonderful musician, but I like his soundtrack stuff a lot more. I'm thinking, this is really fucking cool. So I genuinely really enjoyed it. But I do have one more honorable mention, specifically because it's a song that was not on the soundtrack, but it's in the movie.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
And we talked about this briefly, Dave, you and I at one point, I know. We were talking about the Critters soundtrack. And there's the theme that Johnny Steele does, but that's not the song I'm going to mention.
Not Power of the Night, Streets Are Calling.
Which is an amazing song.
Power of the Night, Streets Are Calling. Oh, God, that song kicks.
But it's the opening theme from Friday the 13th, Part 8.
Metropolis, Darkest Side of the Night.
Yeah, I remember texting you at 2 o'clock in the morning. I was just listening to this track and I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome. Yep. And there's somebody on YouTube, and I wish I could remember the name of the commenter, but the commenter said something along the lines of, this is peak New York. This is driving through the Lincoln Tunnel at 2 a.m. It's just you and this song. And I found the perfect vibe for this song. I remember I was up late one night playing Cyberpunk 2077, and I'm just driving through Night City, just having this song on loop, and I'm just having all the neon pass by my car. I'm not annoying the police. I'm not fighting cyber psychos. I'm just driving around this futuristic metropolis with this 80s synth track. And the thing about that song in Friday the 13th Part 8 is they have a DJ talking over it, and it just it doesn't seem out of place at all. It adds to the atmosphere of it. And certain songs really add things to their movies. Like you mentioned, Power of the Night. That's a fantastic fucking song, and that guy can actually fucking sing. So, yeah.
I mean, if we want to talk about like one-hit wonders of like great movies or bad movies, but like great songs, I just recently got the Sleepaway 2 and 3 soundtrack, Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3, which is done by, I want to say the guy's name is John Alton, and he does the song Out of Control and Sleepaway, which Sleepaway is the song that closes out 3. They also put out the most recent release was the Sleepaway Camp soundtrack, the original, which has Angela's theme, You're Just What I've Been Looking For, which I cannot for the life of me remember the artist's name right now. But horror soundtracks especially give me a lot of songs that you can go back to that are just absolute bangers that you have good luck finding unless it's on YouTube. YouTube is a haven, and one that I want to shout out is the Night of the Demons soundtrack is done by Kevin Tenney, or the movie's done by Kevin Tenney, and who is the music done by? It's his brother. I can't remember the exact artist, and I apologize. But there is a video on YouTube where these 3 kids cover the Night of the Demons opening theme, which is the animated cartoon background and whatnot, and the demons flying and whatnot. It's super fun. If you have not seen the Night of the Demons film and you just want to see an amazing piece that might get you to watch it, just go to YouTube and both type in Night of the Demons opening, and you'll see the song and art that I'm talking about. But specifically, this video is 3 teens that just cover it for I think it's their uncle who's a fan. And dude, they nail it. Because it was just a video I stumbled upon because I love that theme. I love the soundtrack. I have it on CD. And Michael Tenney, I want to say his name is. I think that might be it. I apologize, but I think that's it. Regardless, if you go to YouTube and type in Night of the Demons theme cover, you should be able to find this video. You'll see 3 kids like standing in it, like one's at a keyboard, one's got a violin, if not 2. And it is some of the best testament that I can give to the power of soundtracks, to like where these kids literally surprised their uncle with this cover of this theme from this movie that he liked. And we're talking like probably like mid 2010s, maybe if not early 2000s. I think that you just have to have that sense of there are movies that are going to have these pieces of music that stick with you. Whether it's a single song in them or the entire damn soundtrack, if not just pieces of it, there is just a power in some of the music that is in these movies.
100%. Yeah. So, Ken, any words from you in closing tonight?
A lot of these, again, working in a movie theater for almost 5 years, there are some single tracks that I would just specifically get just because they are stuck in my brain and will continue to stick in my brain for the rest of my life. Stuff like the end credit song of Snow White and the Huntsman, which is done by Florence and the Machine.
Yeah.
Like, that's an iconic thing.
Dude, the Transformers soundtrack had a cover of Burning Down the House that was done by god damn it.
New Divide will always be in my heart as one of the greatest singles from a movie ever. Period.
What I've done.
The used Burning Down the House, that's what it was. But yeah, the New Divide by Linkin Park, I specifically got that soundtrack for that song and Stain's The Bottom.
Yep. And also, oddly enough, Linkin Park took one of their singles and put it to the end credits of Abe Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Which one was that?
I forgot about that.
What song
that
was that?
Is hold up. I think I have it in my library.
Is it so? You can only get it off that soundtrack or like buying the single.
No,
it's not on.
No, it's off of. It's a single off of an album of theirs, and
Okay.
I just bought the single. I don't think I have it sitting in my library right now.
It's all good. No, I'm just that's awesome.
But yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, and then like I have a weird pop song in my library that is completely random. Specifically because it played for months on the like pre-show for the theater, like the audio
I get that.
pre-show.
Oh, I get that.
And it's such a stupid catchy song, but it's so bubblegum pop.
And then Dave, what about you? Words of closing.
Words of closing, I would say that you can have a moment of hearing a song that you recognize. A great example is I just saw Baby Girl recently, and there is a use of father figure in that movie that I was not expecting and or prepared for. More so the fact that it took me 30 to 40 seconds to confirm, in fact, that was the song that I was hearing in this movie. And they play the whole damn thing, if not very close to it. Like, it's a lengthy scene, and you get father figure from start to finish. And I was just not expecting that. And I really have just that kind of pull with soundtracks, with movies in general, where I will hear a song simply in a scene and hunt it down because I like it. Great example, hunted down Rat's Body Talk because it is in Golden Child when they are raiding the house with the bikers. And it's playing on the TV, and they're showing a music video for Body Talk with Rat, and so I wanted to get that song. I have the Revenge of the Nerds opening track, which is by the Rabinos, because that's a song, again, in a movie I grew up with. It was just one of those situations where when my sister handed me that 1989 Batman soundtrack, that was the initial fused lighting with linking my love of music and movies together. To where a great example I can give of the obsession, as I mentioned several times on this episode, the Coach Carter trailer, just the trailer, had a cover of In the Air Tonight by the band Nonpoint.
Yes!
So when the Coach Carter soundtrack came out and little David goes to the library to get the Coach Carter soundtrack because he heard this song on the trailer, hasn't seen the movie, but he knows that song's on that because it's got to be on that soundtrack, and was very disappointed to the point where I had to go to the internet and ask it on the IMDb message boards where this song was and what this song was, and that's how I found it. I went to great lengths to track down songs, to which I still do today sometimes. Like, that whole thing with the Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 soundtrack, I've been listening to Sleepaway Camp on freaking YouTube because that's the only way it was available until these CDs and vinyl came out recently. Silent Night, Deadly Night soundtrack, another one that I hunted down and now own on multiple formats. And it's just incredible that you have a sense sometimes that you can both see these movies even when you're just listening to them, or you can even look at the pictures with the mute on and hear the music, for another example. Music has just a power to it, whether it is somebody talking, singing, screaming, vibing into a microphone and, with a band, or just the band by itself, or just a single set of bongos. When you have a powerhouse of cinema and music come together, you can really just have a staple point in your brain where it's just like, there's just something that you either get that happiness from, that drive from, or just like that happy memory from. I'm a big proprietor of taking in those memories that have significance to pop culture, whether it's movies or music. So if you have a song that you like and you hear it in a movie, or you discover that song from that movie, you're never really going to forget that, depending on how much effort you put in to find it, which, has unfortunately cut down with how much is available on streaming now, because I can literally go on my Apple Music and pull up Jerry Goldsmith's work on the Gremlins 1 and 2 soundtrack, which are both vastly different, again, going back to sequels. It's funny because there's just that extent where, depending on what you find and depending on what movies you watch, or the availability of rights and whatnot, you can get stuck sometimes with hearing these songs only by watching these movies, or going to YouTube and hoping somebody's ripped the scene, if not, has like a copy of the 45, if not the cassette, something. it's just crazy because it gives that desire again to find and search things out you haven't seen before, because you never know what you'll get. You might get a great movie, you might get a great soundtrack. Regardless of it, if you have a soundtrack you like, there is nothing wrong with how many times you listen to it. You don't even have to keep track. If it makes you happy, it makes you happy, no matter what it is or no matter what time it grabs you. You just really have to have those points.
Mm-hmm. And I guess for me, in my final word, I've discovered a lot of music through movies. I've also discovered a lot of bands through movies. I remember in the 90s when a lot of music videos would be based around movies. I remember one of my favorite music videos, because it's so stupid, is Limp Bizkit's video for Take a Look Around for Mission Impossible 2. It's such a funny video. It's fun.
Hey, I Disappear, Metallica's song off Mission Impossible 2. Like, again, you're talking about movies that are regarded as not great movies. But again, those soundtracks outweigh those films because of the times they hit and the artists we had on them.
Yeah. So, guys, if you have any recommendations for soundtracks, we'd love to hear them. So you can email us here at the show at feedback@thisweekingeek.net. Alex will make sure that we all get that email. So once again, thank you for joining us on our new Twig show, Random Access Memories. And what we're going to talk about next time? Fuck if I know. We're just going to make it up as we go along. I'm sure I will have another rant against Mr. Beast, but good times. But anyway, guys, so for Twig's Random Access Memories from New Jersey, we have been
Ken from This Anime,
Ohio,
David Denoyer from Do You Even Movie, with one last recommendation: the Philip Glass score for the Dracula film that Bela Lugosi is in, which I believe is 1932, if I'm not mistaken. The Philip Glass score is a soundtrack piece that is not usually shown with airings that are on TV or even streaming. But it is a beautiful, beautiful score by itself that you will be easily to find via YouTube or any of the streaming apps you have. That is an honorable mention that I forgot to put down on my list that I cannot go out of here without. But yeah, David Denoyer, Do You Even Movie.
All right, good times. And I've been Mike the Birdman saying computer and program.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Thanks for listening to this episode of This Week in Geek. Hungry for more? Check out our website at thisweekingeek.net. You can subscribe to the podcast, browse our Twitter and Instagram, and leave your thoughts on today's topics. If you'd like to give us some feedback, send us an email at feedback@thisweekingeek.net. Tune in next time, and remember,
lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No